first time in a month, we are back and better than ever, more crazier than ever. Me and Sox Arizona here for the Dead Red podcast. Be sure to hit the like button for both channels, subscribe, share out, do all the good stuff. It's going to be a crazy night tonight. Before I get in our other two guests, Sox, it's been over a month, man. What's going on? How the Red Sox is doing? I mean, I know they're last place, but give us the rundown, my man.
Hey, we're doing all right, man. Good to see you guys in the chat. Good to see you, Alex, as always, man. It's been over a month. A lot has gone down, roster moves, standing changes. It's obvious that the Red Sox, it's not going to be their season, but I like what they're doing as of late, the last couple of weeks. So excited to talk about that. I know the Yankees are gearing up for the postseason, so it's going to be crazy on your guys' side, but it's good to be back, man. Excited for a fun night tonight.
Right. All right. So now, with all the crazy bullshit we've been dealing with in sports today, I had to get some help. And with that being said, I will welcome in Donald Stewart and Luca of the Boys in the Big Apple podcast. So this is kind of like a collaboration, crossover type episode. Donald, I'll start with you. You're a Giants fan. Obviously, we cut Blake Martinez. You're a Knicks fan, so we didn't get Donovan Mitchell, obviously. And, you're a Yankees fan, so you feel a little bit better about Oswald Peraza coming up. But give us the rundown, my man.
Well, where do I start? I'm furious that Donovan Mitchell's not a Knick. I'm absolutely fuming about that. So that's going to take me some time to get over. I was almost in tears when I read that he didn't end up in the Knicks. So extremely upset about that. Still trying to digest Blake Martinez being cut. I mean, I can understand moving on from him, but why didn't they just do it at the start of the offseason where they could have had time to go and address some middle linebacker? Now they don't really have a middle linebacker. Very strange. I don't totally understand all the moves that Joe Shane's doing, but I'm obviously on board with him, but not totally buying everything he's doing right now. But we'll discuss that. Yankees, well, obviously the obvious move was to call up Peraza. I mean, they're just ridiculous that it took this long. So I'm actually not going to give them any praise for this because it was the obvious move to make. I think, honestly, I don't think they would have done it had there not been this big outcry over the last 24 hours. Obviously, our platform, NYY News, Pete Simonetti, I think there was a lot of pressure. There was fans had placards and call up Peraza. I mean, honestly, I also think that Aaron Boone stepped in a huge pile of shit that he couldn't get out of, and the Yankees had to go and make a move because I think he embarrassed himself so much with what he said that I'm going to go on a rant about that. Oh boy, I honestly think that he stepped in a big pile of shit, and the only way out of it was to call up Peraza. So I'm giving them no credit for it because it was the obvious move to make.
I have to agree with all the points Donald has made. Real quickly, before we get to Luca, shouts to Jets Mess, Donald himself in the chat. Evan, what's going on, Evan? Jack, who's an Orioles fan. Blue City Empire Sports. Also, Daniel Berry, who followed me on Twitter for a few days ago, officially Rams 2022 champs, also a Dodgers fan. And guys, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Both channels, also Pinstripe Chronicles. If you're a Yankees fan, you'll enjoy your baseball content. Pinstripe Chronicles, Donald goes on there, and he does a show with Tats and Rob. Also, we're looking for one more person. We could also do odd numbers as well, so we could take a 1, 3, whatever. Fantasy football league we're doing. So we're looking for either one more person, 3 more people. Our draft is set for Saturday at 7:30, actually 7 o'clock p.m. So be sure if you want to be a part of it, put it in the comments. Luca, turn it to you.
I guess my only salvation now is the New York Jets and the Fighting Irish. That's it. So the Yankees have sucked. The Knicks are pertaining to mediocrity. There's more questions than answers. And I found this interesting tweet that we'll go over when we do the whole basketball section. I just find it interesting.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask Sox, and I know this is kind of a moot point because the trade deadline has already passed us by, but what was the Sox direction at that point? Tommy Pham, Eric Hosmer. What were those moves?
The big thing for us in the field was obviously going to be first base, and I think it was a desperation move. I think they were trying to go out and get multiple first basemen, and we didn't have much to offer. It was right after that series where the Red Sox were making constant errors on the field, and the fans were just calling to go get somebody. So that, you know what, I think Eric Hosmer was there, and they went out there and pulled the trigger too quickly. And I think he's a good player. He's cut down the errors on defense for sure. But it didn't seem like the right move. We're not paying him a lot of money. The Padres are paying his whole salary. I don't think the Red Sox are paying him $1 this year, which is a good thing. And Frankie Cordero got sent down, and now he's back up balling better than ever. So maybe that's what he needed a little bit. I don't know about Tommy Pham either. I think the Red Sox were trying to go in the winning direction, but the division is too top heavy, man. It's just not going to happen this year.
What did you think of trading away Christian Vasquez?
It broke my heart just as much as it did every other Red Sox fan, man. And he's doing well now. He's going 2 for 4 almost every single night over there with Houston, just balling. He's one of my favorites, man. I'm almost in tears thinking about it still.
You guys have any thoughts on what the Red Sox did this trade deadline, what they have been doing, I guess, this entire season? Donald?
Well, I like Pham. I like Tommy Pham. I think he's a decent player. Don't totally understand the direction they're going in, though, because, if they're last place, then why are they still kind of bringing in veterans that can help them win right now? I mean, it's kind of a mixed narrative that they're given, but I'm really surprised at how much the Sox have struggled this year, because I had them pegged for, finishing above the Yankees for one. I was pretty sure of that, or at least kind of be in the same kind of win-loss record. I'm surprised that the only division wins that they've had was the Orioles and the Yankees all year long. It's very strange, considering how good they were last year. They beat the pants off the Yankees last year.
They did. The baseball against our division is it's something I haven't seen, honestly, in what I can remember as being a Red Sox fan. I think they're 16. I don't even remember the record. They won 16 games against the division this year.
But offensively, you still got it. It's the pitching, really.
Yeah, back into the bullpen.
Back into the bullpen's been a mess.
Luca?
Yeah, I got to concur with Donald. I'm not sure what direction they were supposed to go in. I mean, it was kind of like half pregnant. I got to use a Donald term here. So we can, let me see if that's on the bingo card. I gotta put that down.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do our
yes.
Big Blue LeBron's bingo.
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 terms.
Okay, we got 10 out of 24 terms right now. So what we're doing before we move on is we're going to try to compile some phrases that we all say and put it on a bingo card.
Not really phrases, but terms.
Phrases, terms, same shit. So like Donald, he says half pregnant, diabolical. Luca says mantra. So, there's a lot going on there. What
I was going to say was, you took on the horrible Hosmer contract, but yeah, you traded Christian Vasquez away. Was that like, I mean, I understand they're like, obviously it would be the smart direction to kind of sell or just stay put. But it's kind of like, as I said, half pregnant. It's like about face, as I said. So I didn't really get that.
I don't know. It seems like fans were calling for a first baseman, and they're like, "Oh, here's Hosmer." He's better than Frankie, but it is what it is. The defensive errors have gone down, which it's hard to watch baseball when they're throwing the ball over the field. So that's been nice to see.
Jarren Duran.
Yes, Jarren Duran, Frankie Cordero. Even Arroyo struggled out there playing outfield for the first time. So it's tough.
I mean, that was just horrible. What was Duran was the center, like,
oh my God,
shit.
He walks backwards, and he just looks backwards and doesn't even run.
Didn't Joey Gallo almost get an inside the park home run off of one of those?
It's ridiculous. At Fenway, come on.
But then Aaron Hicks watched that and went, "I got you," and then he did that thing where he span around like a ballerina 3 times and lost the ball. That was just as bad.
Don't remind me. So Jack says NBA is a sports for divas. How do you guys feel about Mitchell?
Evan, me, and Luca are going to go to town on that.
I'm surprised by that.
Bang
I was
it.
very surprised.
What was I going to say? Jack says y'all need to get in ice hockey more physical, constant war of attraction, broken bones and bruises, blood and sweat.
It's
I've been
attrition.
trying to get into more Rangers. The Red Sox have been bad. It's nice to see. LOL, says Evan, Yankees fan. Fritz, what's going on? The Red Sox haven't won a series against Baltimore this year. It's only 2 Yankees and Rays. The Yankees are clearly missing Masahiro Tanaka. Remember how much of a stud he was back in 2016-17? Dude was legit. And then Jets Mess says, please don't mention the H name, which is Aaron Hicks' favorite player. Donald, I gotta ask you, and you said you're gonna go on a rant about this. Talk to me about yesterday. And to be fair, as I texted Sox, I was at a Roger Waters concert yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So, and let me say that we weren't far because he would go to 4 parts of the stage. And it was actually at MSG. Yes. Luca, if you would take a minute, just go get my hoodie. That was $100, by the way.
Yep.
They didn't have any when I saw him.
Really?
Just a shirt.
Man, that sucks. But I got a $100 hoodie. It kept me nice and warm inside MSG. So, do you have the hoodie?
Yes.
Hoodie.
Yes.
This is not a drill. And then there was also, I think I put it behind you. You could showcase it before I go to Donald for this thing. It's the book. It's not really a book. It's a program.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes,
Yep.
sir.
So,
yeah, that show's incredible, man.
but anyway, Donald, obviously, it was a lot of bullshit that went on last night.
A lot of
Your
bullshit.
thoughts on it?
Aaron Boone's bullshit in particularly. Okay, so obviously you guys have seen the error. Freaking ridiculous.
It was a simple play.
Oh, he allowed the ball to play him, and that's the last thing that any shortstop can do. I don't need advanced analytics to tell me that he's some phenomenal shortstop, but also the advanced analytics also tells us that he's not anywhere near. I think if you look through his analytics, I think like most of the categories, he's like 24th in baseball or 24th in the league or whatever in the American League for in baseball for shortstops. He's amongst one of the worst shortstops in baseball. That we can all categorically agree on. And he cost us that game. He did. That error changed everything because then it changed the way that Gerrit Cole would approach Ohtani, and obviously grooved the fastball down the middle of the plate on 2-0. Terrible pitch, absolutely unacceptable. You never make that. But again, none of that happens if IKF does his job, because he throws that guy out, then there's a base open that you can pitch around Ohtani. But he didn't want to pitch around Ohtani with runners on first and second in case he loaded the bases, and then anything can happen. So it's all on IKF, and he's an absolute blowjob of a shortstop. And then Aaron Boone had the unmitigated gall to fucking lie to us, gaslight us. I don't like my baseball team gaslighting me. I don't like my baseball team lying
Another
to me.
term.
Yeah, I already put that down.
I really don't fucking appreciate it, man. We're not fucking stupid. You think we're fucking stupid? We don't. It's not like the 70s where we just go, oh, okay, that's cool. No, we can actually read these fucking stats. We can read the stats just as much as you can, Aaron. Oh, he's actually -2 in fucking outs above average. Oh, okay. So he's not very good then. All right. So so you're fucking lying to us. Oh, he's one of the best shortstops in baseball. He's amazing. He's great. That's fucking lies, man. That's fucking bullshit. Stop lying to me. He's not very good. All you had to fucking say was that He's one of the better one of the better infielders in the game. He obviously has to make that play. It's unacceptable. That's all you have to fucking say. Don't lie to us.
We could just
puff
say
it up. But the truth is, I don't think Aaron Boone believed a word of what he actually fucking said because he looked like a robot when he was saying, "Oh." I'm telling you, Brian Cashman told him before he went up to his post conference to go and suck IKF's dick prior to him talking to us because honestly, he didn't look like he believed what he was saying, and that's what I really think has disturbed me so deeply about this organization that Aaron Boone just has to be the PR guy, the PR spokesman. I don't believe he believes half the shit he says, but he has to say it because Zillow tells him to, Brian Cashman tells him to, Fishman tells him to, and he just goes and answers it. And it's really disturbing, man. Be yourself. Be your own man. The reason why this Yankee team is free-falling is because there's a lack of accountability right throughout the organization. None. There was none. And there was none of it last year, and there's none of it the year before. And it's really apparent now because you're seeing some of the craziest things just recently, man. Like the Gleyber Torres when he dived at second base and allowed the runner to walk home, or in Pete Alonso's case, fall over and still get up and then walk home.
You know
because Gleyber Torres dived at the wrong base. I mean, these kind of crazy fucking things are happening, and guess what? Nothing happens. Aaron Boone's like, oh, that was really great play. It's lies, man. He allows them all to play the next day. There's no accountability. What should have happened is Gleyber Torres, his ass should have been fucking sat down. What normally should happen is IKF and his multitude of errors, he should have fucking sat the day after. Little bit of accountability. You know, I'm not asking Aaron Boone to go on a mad rant in the post game and call people out and all that shit. You don't need to do that. You can do it behind the scenes, right? But at least show some level of accountability where you're going, this shit can't happen. We've been shut out like 11 times already, just freaking insane. You know, like you have to show a little bit of balls. And so when he lied to us last night, I just realized that this team's broken. There's no accountability. The management's fucked. And I think a lot of them are covering their own ass right now. I think Brian Cashman asked Aaron Boone to cover his ass last night and lie to us because it all comes down to Brian Cashman at the end of the day. And I know I'm ranting about Aaron Boone because I don't like him lying to me. But at the end of the day, it's all about Brian Cashman because of that fucking ridiculous trade. It's one of the worst trades in modern Yankee history. It really is. The Josh Donaldson IKF trade. In every single way you look at it, when you look at the fact that Carlos Correa is a twin, only because Brian Cashman took on Josh Donaldson's contract, only in order for him to get IKF, who is completely substandard. I mean, it's really, no matter what way you look at it. And then the fact that we traded for Ben Rortvedt, who I'm convinced doesn't actually exist. I think he's a figment of my imagination. So I'm not even going to give him credit for making the Trevino trade because he wouldn't have had any intention of trading for Trevino had Rortvedt not actually been like a catfish. You know, I'm not convinced that he's not a real person. So all the way you look at it, it's a fucking mess. It really is. So Aaron Boone lied to me, man, and I'm pissed at that.
Just want to get to some comments real quick. Everybody's loving this right now. MH, Donovan, Jeff, what's up, guys? I agree. Aaron Boone is a fucking perfume.
Perfume.
Okay.
I like that word.
No, it does make sense because he's trying to clear the air. He's trying to make everything smell better.
Oh,
Than it actually is.
Deodorant.
The odor is
Febreze on that bullshit.
Yes. The trade opened up Trevino. This is highly entertaining hearing Donald rant on the Yankees. Donald sing a lullaby for Aaron Boone. Wow, Donald is seriously pissed. Baseball changing. 22-year-olds can play in the league. Hold on, I just missed something.
It's a good point, MH. Cashman's late to that party.
Absolutely, Cashman and Hal tell Boone to sell this crap. Poor organization, whore, pathetic. historic franchise. What's up, Jeffrey? He says he's watching the Purdue Penn State game, college football. Peraza could be a bigger impact than Brett Beatty easily. Yankees are thinking youth. Someone help out Aaron Judge. Also, get your NYY News TV Day tickets, people. It's going to be an exciting, fun night in Brooklyn, October 11th. ALDS. Let's hope they get there, though. With every shitty lineup this offseason, fucks as a fan, as a customer, every single one of us. Exactly. What do you guys think about the Mitchell trade?
We'll get into that. I'm upset.
It's going to be another.
That's another rant.
Another rant coming up. Exactly, Donald. Hey, fellas, guess what? The Mets win again. Let's fucking go Mets.
They're a fucking good team.
He also says, let's go Giants.
Seriously,
and then the Donald words.
I already wrote down the terms, don't worry. We're about 11 in.
Yeah, so a few more. Jeff says it's great being a Mets fan. Fritz says one quote I'm throwing out regularly these days. I've seen it in Pete's chat. Describes the difference between the successful Yankee eras and this mess. Any player that thought about something other than baseball, other than winning baseball, was Joe McCarthy's ex-player. And Joe DiMaggio became McCarthy's perfect player. Good point. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets.
Okay, we get it. We get it.
Beatty is hurt, though. What's up, guys? Shout outs to JC in the chat. What's going on, Jay? But Luca, if you want to elaborate on, because you were calling the game with Pete last night.
Will be moments for that. Luca already knows what happened with the Jets. Well, I don't know what's going to happen with the Jets because, in my opinion, this is a pivotal season for the current regime and the team overall. So it's an interesting season. It's not like I'm actually excited for this season. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, if you want to elaborate on what you saw last night.
No, it was complete bullshit. It was complete bullshit for Aaron Boone. You know what? This is the problem with the Yankee fan base. Not everybody. Us three, Donald, me, and Alex can scope through it. The Yankee fans do not read between the lines. The Yankees media does not ask the tough questions. Therefore, you have an unaccountable organization. Nobody's being held accountable anywhere. The players, manager, or front office for bad moves because nobody's asking the tough question. Everybody's putting out Yankee propaganda. And the minute, Donald and I disagree with this because we had a disagreement over Twitter, obviously, this morning about the whole Gerrit Cole bullshit. So I was doing Game Season Live last night, and, I could see, Gerrit Cole gives up the home run to Ohtani, all right? And then, Brian, this is the Yankees propaganda machine, as Pete likes to call it, at work. Brian Hoke tweets, fan delay on the field. 2 runners on. Ohtani hits the homer. You could see it coming. So that's it. A built-in excuse for Gerrit Cole. Then you have Katie Sharp tweeting out something about negative runs for a pitcher. I gotta find the tweet because it pissed me off so much. I'm like, this is the Yankees propaganda machine at work. Nobody's fucking stupid. She tweeted, here you go. Entering yesterday, the Yankees had -2 outs above average with Gerrit Cole on the mound this season. That's worst among all Yankee pitchers. They're creating him as the goddamn victim. That is my problem. Nobody is taking accountability for shit because we don't have people who could ask the questions. That's my problem with this team. And all these fans out here are hyping these players like nobody else and, writing bullshit propaganda, trying to gaslight us. We're not stupid. We know what this organization is about. So you know what the problem is? Fans like to be fucking lied to. That's the problem.
Another good rant. Did you guys see that thing that Gleyber Torres is apparently struggling because he was in trade rumors?
That's a bullshit.
Yeah, that's bullshitting. That's another excuse.
It's gaslighting. Again, gaslighting.
It's another excuse, man. Torres did it all last year. What was the excuse last year? He couldn't hit or field last year.
The Yankees make excuses to justify losing. They take off days to justify losing. And then what happens? They don't win championships.
I mean, my whole thing with this whole situation, whether you want to blame it on Cole or IKF, and listen, as Lucas said, Donald is more towards it's kind of more on IKF rather than on Cole. And listen, Donald isn't a Cole defender by any stretch of the imagination like these other fucking geeks. But let me say this: and Donald will get my reference on this. I tweeted out something last night. I'm like, wow, people are making excuses for Gerrit Cole again, kind of like and I'm not comparing it to Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley or Darius Slayton. But you notice how there's buildup for excuses there by fans. There's buildup for excuses for Gerrit Cole. Add on $40 million in investments. So every time Cole doesn't do something right, all these people come out here and fucking make excuses. Don't you think that's wrong a little bit? Don't you? Same thing. You know what? I'll bring up because Donald doesn't like him and he was happy once he was gone. How about Jordan Montgomery? Didn't they coddle him every time he gave up a run?
Yeah.
So,
but also that's another thing that I'm annoyed at. Like they traded Montgomery and prior to trading Montgomery, everyone was like, "Oh, we need to trade Montgomery. He sucks. He sucks. Oh, the guy's a bum. The guy's a bum." We trade Montgomery. How could you trade Montgomery? Like, what do you want? What do you fucking want? I mean, just pick a lane, pick a side, stick to it. Truth was, nobody was a big fan of Montgomery prior to him being moved. But as soon as he got traded, whether you like the trade or not, oh my God! How could you trade him? How could you trade him? It's like, come on.
In all seriousness, I got two questions. A, if you are Aaron Judge, do you want to be back with this team next year? Looking at how they're playing right now, looking at the inconsistencies, looking how they're taking months off. Do you really want to be back as a Yankee and knowing that Brian Cashman trashed you before opening day this year, putting you out as the bad guy? Because your contract details
is why Aaron Judge would consider leaving the Yankees. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying if there's a reason that will make him leave, it was the way that the Yankees handled this. Look at the fact that Seattle went and signed up Rodriguez. You know, teams can sign players pre-arbitration. It's okay. It happens, especially stars or future stars. But the Yankees were like, "Oh, it's okay. No, we'll wait it out. I'll prioritize Aaron Hicks. I'll prioritize Severino. I'll prioritize this, that, and the other." Why are you not prioritizing Aaron Judge, right? And so you get to this offseason, right? And this was what was amazing. It was like, oh, no, we're not going to get in the shortstop market. We're not going to get in the outfield market because we need to re-sign Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is our priority this offseason. So you're okay. We'll go and sign Aaron Judge then. They didn't sign Aaron Judge. They screwed it up. Oh, it was a fair offer. Aaron Judge is worth a hell of a lot more than a fair offer. And he had every right to turn it down because I would have turned it down if I was Aaron Judge's agent too because I think it was paltry for what Aaron Judge is actually worth. And it's turned out that way. And he has every right to prove himself and to trust himself. But then Brian Cashman had to cover his own ass. Because he fucked up. Because he lied to us. He gaslit us all again. Where he told us that his priority was not to go and get Correa or whatever major shortstop was on the market. Because he needed to have the money to go and sign Aaron Judge. But yet they failed to sign Aaron Judge. So what did? They publicized the offer that didn't happen. Made it public. Made Aaron Judge look like the bad guy. Because, hey, no one else is going to make that kind of money in their wildest dreams. So it's going to make Aaron Judge look a greedy asshole. No, Brian Cashman, you're a fucking prick. That's why. So then he wasn't quite satisfied with that. He wasn't quite satisfied with embarrassing Aaron Judge. So he then goes and then argues all the way up to like hours prior to his arbitration hearing over the space of $4 million. Between $17 and $21 million arbitration they were arguing about. And it almost went to a hearing with hours before an actual hearing, all because of Brian Cashman's ego. So, quite honestly, if I was Aaron Judge, I would be like, man, my back is up. Because guess what? Brian Cashman did exactly the same thing to Derek Jeter. He put Derek Jeter through fucking hell. And Derek Jeter doesn't talk to him to this day. So, listen, Brian Cashman always has to win in every negotiation. Well, he's lost. He lost the Aaron Judge negotiation. And even if Aaron Judge, please God, decides to stay, it's going to cost a fucking fortune. Fortune.
I got two more questions for the panel. You guys are free to ask even in the chat. You can free to answer this as well. Sox, too. I know he's not a Yankee fan, but still. Do you think the locker room respects Aaron Boone?
Great question. I've been thinking about it. You guys first, then I'll answer last.
Alex?
I say no.
No. No, he lets them do whatever they want, and they take advantage of him. Gleyber Torres is one thing. One example, really.
The way they were playing early, I thought things were turning around, as everybody did. But, obviously this last month, it feels like last year for them. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like.
Agreed. All right, because I've been thinking about this myself. I think they respect him, but they don't fight for him. They will never fight for him. They will never run through a wall for him. They will never win because of him. It just doesn't happen. But I think they respect him as an ex-baseball player and as someone who's got a generation's worth of baseball experience, and Brett Boone and his father and stuff. I think they respect that about him, and they respect the fact that he always has their back. So I don't think that it's a case that they don't respect him. I just don't think they fight for him because he's not that type of manager. Like the Mets will fight for Buck Showalter.
And Buck Showalter will fight for his players.
The Braves will fight for Snitker. We'll fight for the Braves, their manager there. They will fight. There's certain teams that will fight for their manager. I think Tampa Bay fights for Kevin Cash. I don't think the Yankees fight for Aaron Boone because, dude's you're never gonna fight for an Aaron Boone as your manager. He's like Michael Scott.
Interesting.
I got another question, and that is, and I was talking with Brian about this earlier today when we were talking about Donovan Mitchell. We morphed into Yankees. Did you guys think this was a retool year?
It could have possibly been, honestly.
Because what Brian sees, in his opinion, and he thinks it's a better way. He thinks they're retooling this year so they can prepare for Volpe and Peraza in the next 2 years. Well, I said, personally, dude, you are also wasting the primes of Stanton, Judge, and Gerrit Cole. And Judge might walk out.
Rizzo may opt out. If anything, I mean,
that might be
half pregnant again, baby. Half pregnant.
I want to talk about Rizzo in just a second, but I have a shit ton of comments I want to get to. Yankees look like they've broken you all.
It's been the same old for the past 3-4 years. So,
yeah, guys, I think you're all at the point where it's time for football season. Congratulations for finally doing something, Yankees. Shouts to the Kerm, by the way. I wouldn't even give them congrats because they're 100 hours late. Literally, Baltimore was calling up their guys before we were. So,
yep.
Bert says no.
And the Astros. Don't forget the Astros.
The Astros. Yep, that's another team. No more money for the Yankees. Everything just to bring these motherfuckers down. Exactly right, Donald. Peraza better be playing every day. The only way this move makes sense. They better play him every day. I mean, IKF really shouldn't start another game at short unless there's major injury. The locker room is probably indifferent about him. They probably don't think they have a manager. Well, I guess. Yep. They're like the baseball version of the Nets, but the problem is you don't have any like legit players controlling. Like there's not a KD or Kyrie. Nobody's controlling. I guess that's the front office. What was I going to say? Jeff says one of the biggest problems with the Yankees is that they have no depth in the starting rotation, and Cole is good, just not a $300 million ace starter.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Cashman, keep this bullshit and mess up, Judge. I'm going to buy a Judge Dodger shirt, support him over there till the Yankees clean house. That Donald Stewart trade was a colossal disaster, too.
Disaster.
Shouts to Unpopular Opinion Sports. You can put your shit in the chat. I put you as a mod, so you can put your channel in the chat. Go subscribe to Unpopular Opinion Sports. He says, Cole got the bag, though. He's the one that's supposed to be leading the pitching staff. Who we got after Cole? Cortez still hurt. Do you trust Montas?
He's probably not hurt.
Severino is still hurt, right? Well, Cortez it's an innings thing.
It's a phantom IL stint.
By the way, his football team is the New York Giants. Cashman took on $50 million Josh Donaldson while they could have kept Urshela and signed Correa. Absolutely right. Fred says Monty wouldn't have saved this nonsense either. Also, no Castillo. Scherzer would have been a Yankee.
He said should have been a Yankee.
Yeah. What if would you guys? I guess he's saying, would you guys cut Leo Williams? Not this year, no.
He's untradeable. He's uncuttable. Sorry.
He's
Yeah,
saying, what would you do
Untradeable as
if
well.
the Giants cut him?
they would have to restructure. They're not in a position to do that. Like they'll if they're gonna cut him, they're gonna do it after this year. Giants cut. Wish it was Galladay, but they should. I think they will restructure the Leo Williams contract. I don't think anyone's going to be next. I think that's going to be the final 53 for now. If the Yankees keep doing this bullshit, I'm praying for a Mets dynasty. Hopefully, New York media is going to grill Hal and Cashman then daily. Bronx got to burn. No, it's going to be the rise of, in my personal opinion, I don't even know if it's going to be a Mets dynasty. It could be that, but it's got to be these media companies. Like, I'm speaking for myself and my company here, NYY News TV. We're pushing the pile. We're trying to get the and he literally came up with a second slogan today: NYY News TV, the truth, because nobody else out there has been as more consistent than we are. Hell of a catch is Nimmo in running for the catch of the year. Monty needed Molina as his catcher. Well, I mean, Trevino is a pretty good catcher too. He's just, I don't think he has good stuff. Like, I don't think he has great stuff, really.
He doesn't have.
I agree. I don't.
He's very vanilla.
Exactly. He doesn't have a
Didn't
strikeout pitch.
understand at first Nimar, but got why they did it now. He's an unexperienced manager that brings fire, unlike what they had previously with Rojas and Callaway. Obviously, talking about Buck Showalter. What do you think of the Martinez release? Makes sense long term, not short term.
Exactly.
MH says, so what RJ going to struggle since the Knicks considered trading him? GM shouldn't be friends with players. They signed paperwork. It's business. Torres, man up. 1 second. Your manager is real. Yep, it is. He is a real manager. Never thought it'd be the day when the Mets are this much better than the Yankees, and not to be a prick, but it's such a great feeling. Hey, listen.
I don't blame you.
Fair enough, man.
I don't blame you. Fritz says, you all make real valuable work. Only medium pressure and earthquakes on baseball landscape like Mets can shake up these incest motherfuckers. Okay, that's
I really don't think the Mets being successful will actually make any difference to Hal Steinbrenner, because the Yankees didn't react when the Mets signed Scherzer.
No, they
at
didn't
all.
react.
They didn't do anything. In fact, they did even less than was humanly possible. So I really don't think that anything that they're doing is going to be a reaction. I mean, Hal Steinbrenner is his own cat. He's actually looks like he's more interested in soccer than he is the Yankees.
That's right, everybody. That's right, everybody. He bought a soccer team, 10%. And then we'll hear all the excuses at the end of the year. Oh, Aaron, we didn't have money for Aaron Judge, or his asking price was too high. That's right. You bought a soccer team, Hal. Oh, that's right. The media will still cover your ass.
Exactly. There we go. Let's not forget that Hal Steinbrenner said on the eve of spring training, while our guys are warming up, he says, oh, we couldn't afford Correa, or we couldn't afford fucking Seager, whoever, because we had to pay bondsmen. Fucking bondsmen. Remember that? He said, and I quote, we had bondsmen to pay back. Shove the bondsman up. Shove the bondsman up your ass. That's the truth. Because that is a fucking lie, right? Because so apparently you've got all these bondsmen you need to pay back, but you're more than willing to give all this money to AC Milan in Italy.
Oh, here's the catch. On September 6th or the 7th, AC Milan will be on Yes, and the Yankees will be on Prime that night. So this entails everybody. Don't let anybody else fool you. Hal is a bullshit liar. He is a bullshitter.
Yeah, how many games has he fucking been sending out to fucking Apple Plus and fucking Amazon and all this shit?
Amazon Prime is solely with the Yankees, so that's on him.
We need we need a ton of fucking apps just to watch this fucking team. And it costs a fortune to go to the stadium.
It's all about fucking money so we can invest in it. Maybe he'll care more about the soccer team than he will the Yankees. Because right now, if you asked him, I think Donald said this or Pete said this, if you asked him to name a certain amount of players in this team, he wouldn't do it.
I'm sure of it. Well, I mean, I was reading that fucking book, Mission 27. And he said to Brian Cashman that the way he likes to run his baseball team is he likes to see it from 30,000 feet. Well, I can't see shit from 30,000 feet, and I think that's what Hal Steinbrenner's fucking seeing.
Isn't that like you're fucking flying, bro?
That's what when we were flying back from Miami, that's literally what we were. 30,000 feet in the fucking air.
Exactly. That's when you're flying in a fucking airplane, man. You can see clouds. That's all I can fucking see.
To be fair, like how much involved was Hal Steinbrenner really in that 27?
No, never.
It was him and Hank that.
Hank was a little more like George, apparently.
He was, yeah. He was. The problem was when Hank made that new contract for A-Rod, that put Brian Cashman's nose out of joint because he was against giving a new contract to A-Rod. That's when Hank got sidelined and Hal took over.
I didn't know that, but unfortunately now I do. Unpopular Opinion Sports says Cole hasn't been worth the money we're paying him. He's supposed to be shutting mofos down. Point blank.
He hasn't been the ace. Sorry, I said this on Twitter.
No leader on this team. Yeah, there ain't.
It's not because of yesterday's start. It's been a multitude of starts where he's made excuses and he's justified his terribleness. Not terrible. It's just he's underperformed. Sorry. He's had his dominant starts, but still, that's just my opinion.
Hal knows the name of his 30th yacht, but won't know a player other than Aaron Judge.
Fuck right.
I like that. I like that. That's a good one. Sox, and any comments on all this shit? I know we're spewing Yankees and talking about ownership, but
it's just insane that from the outside in, all that stuff I didn't even know about Milan. That adds a whole nother piece into it. But it just seems like ownership over on the Sox side. We're trying to win on the field, and everybody's focused on the field. And through talking with Alex, I think this is episode 14 now. It's just there's so much shit around the media and the big market of the Yankees. It's like the hole. It looks like they're just digging a hole. I don't know what it's going to take, but it's been a long time since they've been there up at the top. And all this stuff adds up to it. It's going to be tough. You're the best team in the division, and here we are complaining about them.
Right, and they used to have 10 more games of a lead than they do now. They have a 6-game lead.
Right.
Somebody tweeted, "I'm basically saying that the Yankees owning a portion of AC Milan will only be beneficial to the Yankees in the long term."
Please explain how.
And he says, continues to says that AC Milan being on Yes and the Yankees being on his Amazon would have happened either way.
So what is he trying to think that what the revenues that you'd get from owning a portion of?
Here you go.
AC Milan was going to go
my
to the
friend
Yankees?
Bobby says so. AC Milan on Yes, and he explained, AC is going to be on Yes September 6th. Yankees will be on Amazon the same day. Get used to this now because Al Howe owns the 10%. Nick Tyrell, who's a Yankee boy, Yankee boy, says you complaining about extra revenue for the club. What are you not critical of? Then he says, then somebody says, LOL, you think that revenue makes it onto the field? Wake up, my friend. Hal took the Yankee revenue and rather investing in the club, used it to buy a minority stake in Milan. Tells you all you
Thank you. That's what we're upset about.
And then he says that has nothing to do with it, but go off.
That has everything to do with it.
I don't understand how people could.
He just told us that he didn't have money to invest in the Yankees because he had bondsmen to pay. But he's using the revenues that you get from the Yankees because before AC Milan, the only revenues he got was from the Yankees. So he's obviously taking what he's got, some of the revenues from the Yankees, and putting it into AC Milan.
What, has he got a fucking money tree? Is that how he's getting his money? Come on.
Andrew replies, perhaps I'm mistaken, but I understood your tweet to suggest that revenue generated from Milan broadcast would somehow make its way to the Yankees. Zero reason to believe that, and I point out evidence that suggests exactly the opposite. Yankee revenue was used to subsidize the Milan acquisition.
Exactly.
And it
isn't just the TV. 10%. He's brought 10% of the team.
How about this?
And then Bobby, I'm sorry to interrupt. Bobby replies to Nick's comment, right, sure, it will help Yes to the Yankees sarcastically. But then don't cry about the luxury tax or player contracts when you're spending elsewhere. Yes is printing money that pockets.
Exactly.
Let me ask you. All right, we're gonna do a little math here, right? I want you to look up last year's revenue for AC Milan and do 10% of that.
I'm doing it right now. 261 million euros. Wait, let me double check that. Excuse me. Their team value. You want me to? What about team value? Does that work for you?
Yeah, team value is fine.
Value.
$1.2 billion.
Okay.
And their revenue is 257 million. So let's do a fraction of that. 257 million
Shouts to Miz.
times
What's going on, Miz?
10%. That is $25.7 million.
What the fuck is that?
That's Carlos.
That's not even Judge's salary. Oh my! These people are fucking idiots. Oh,
25.
There's nothing good about this because also he's backed himself in a corner because if he doesn't sign Aaron Judge, then fans are gonna be like, "Why the fuck did you purchase a fucking soccer team?"
Purchase AC Milan just to make $25 million extra dollars. Fucking God. Jesus, I don't know.
How about
he's expanding his it's nothing to do with him expanding the Yankees. He's expanding his own personal empire. Yes, Network is involved in that.
I want to see.
Let me just say the value 1.2 billion times 10% is $120 million. So,
but I will say it is not unusual for owners to own baseball teams and soccer teams. I mean,
of course,
right.
the Boston Red Sox. I mean, the Fenway Sports Group, Boston and Liverpool. James Dolan, the Crankies, the Rams and Arsenal and the Nuggets and stuff. But the thing is, they were already kind of empires prior to purchasing acquisition, so they didn't prioritize one over the other. So everyone seems to get a pretty good investment. Hal Steinbrenner inherited the Yankees from his dad, right? But the only fucking money they really got was mostly from the Yankees, 99% of it. So he's just expanding his own personal empire. It's not going to benefit the Yankees.
I want to see this fucking Nick Tyrell douchebag in real life and have him come to me face to face and actually say this shit.
He's Hal's spokesman. Are you kidding?
I'm literally going to say on Twitter. Now I forgot what I was going to say in terms of the tweet, but I'm going to go at him. And if he wants to come at me with his Yankee boy shit, fuck him. Fuck him. Sox just laying low, enjoying the Yankees chaos.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, the Twins getting pissed now. Cashman should have signed Scherzer 45 or 50 mil. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, no, that makes all the world's difference.
Never gonna happen.
Yep. After thinking about neither am I, Miz, and if Beavers doesn't get hurt, he probably would have been cut earlier. Obviously, they're talking about the Blake Martinez cut. Mets are a no chaos club, no more.
Yeah.
Gathering quality regularly, constructing a well-balanced baseball team.
Not according to Joe and Clark.
Well, I don't know what I don't.
He's a Twitter guy who complains about the Mets every single day.
And what was it? Frank the Tank. It's another guy that complains of the Mets constantly.
I think he does that for clicks.
I'll definitely be watching that, Miz. I'll definitely be watching that. Just going through a couple of comments here. Anything else? Oh, what was Fritz's comment? Well, if Hal and Cashman keep on sleeping, how many off seasons and deadline successful will the Mets need to leave the Yankees behind?
Well, they're already ahead of us.
Yeah.
They have a closer. They have two starting pitchers.
Yep. And what do we have?
We don't have a closer. That's for sure.
What was I going to say? Any more shit on the Yankee subjects?
Well, we should probably touch on Peraza.
Right. Now, hold on. Let me interject here as well. Rizzo, another back injury, probably will be out for the Tampa series.
Oh,
You guys worried? Do you guys want him to opt out maybe, or do you still want to keep him despite his back issues?
I know Pete's been saying LeMahieu would be a decent first base option. To me, if Rizzo opts out, like it would be. See, I want to be realistic because this is the Steinbrenners we're talking about. In that situation, the Rizzo opts out. I want Josh Bell.
Okay.
He's good.
Yeah, that's an option right there. I mean, one of the few. But Donald, your thoughts on this whole Rizzo stuff?
I want LeMahieu playing third. I want Volpe playing short, and I want Peraza playing second, or vice versa. Peraza playing second.
What about Oswaldo?
Peraza playing short, Volpe playing second. Something like that. Donaldson playing third. LeMahieu playing third. I don't want fucking LeMahieu playing first base. LeMahieu's not that great at first baseman. LeMahieu's actually played a very good third base this year. We need to get the hell rid of Josh Donaldson. I think that we should probably look to make sure that Rizzo stays in pinstripes. I mean, listen, he's about to hit 40 home runs this year. He's literally our second bat because Stanton's been out for so long. He's basically our second bat that bats for any kind of slugging. I mean, look at our lineup, man. Without Rizzo, it's just Aaron Judge and Stanton because there's no one else that slugs in this team. None. With Carpenter out, and Carpenter wasn't even our original plan. That was just a luck of the draw.
Yep.
The Yankees, by design, really thought that we'll just go with these kind of contact hitters, which is great, which is what we want, but there's not any other slugging guys around him, and so we've only really been relying on Rizzo and Judge all year long. And so, listen, I think we need to make sure that Rizzo stays in pinstripes, man, because we don't have a first baseman in the minors. I think the only chance we have is maybe turning Wells into a first baseman. There's not a first baseman in the minors, so and the Yankees are going to be putting all their money into Aaron Judge, I assume. So they're not going to be wanting to spend on a first baseman as well. So I think that Rizzo needs to stay. But they need to get rid of Josh Donaldson. Get him the fuck out of town. Jesus Christ.
Yep. Fritz says Castillo's price would shoot through the roof up. No surprise. That's why I signed Scherzer, especially if you're reshitting money. Otherwise, cut some shitty contracts. Yeah. Well, right on the money with that one.
Sox, Arizona, what did you think about the Rizzo thing? Would you have him stay or would you have him?
I think I think you got to keep him there. You make a good point. Like he's almost 40 home runs. You don't see that all around the MLB, and he's had quite a good career, prestigious career, World Series champion. You know that you got to keep that guy around. He's a good, solid locker room guy, and I think he would be a big part of success. You know.
Good point. I agree.
Right. What should Hal learn of that? Stop fucking with own family money and company. All these incest explains why every single dumbhead decision. No, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, Fritz. Hal's a fucking moron, to put it too lightly. And I can't imagine defending a guy like if you can defend, like you can try to shill for Boone, try to shill for Cashman like the media does, but if you fucking shill for Hal.
I'm sure the media will do that too. You got to paint the image. Paint what you're not seeing. Paint your imagination.
But the thing is, it's really hard because everyone's culpable. Because at the end of the day, Hal Steinbrenner isn't wrong that you can win a championship by building through your minor league system. And you don't need $300 million payroll to win a championship. He is quite right. And he has provided a payroll around $265 million, which should be more than enough. And then that's when you move to Brian Cashman, because he's not made use of that. And then you can also move on to Aaron Boone, where he's not really made use of the fact that Brian Cashman's still giving him Gerrit Cole, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, fucking Rizzo, you name it. and this team is still not very good. So all three are culpable in different ways. You know, I mean, all three have their benefits. Like, I still think Brian Cashman's a very smart man. He's a shrewd guy. He makes sure he doesn't lose in trades and negotiations. But he's also such a pig-headed, fucking arrogant prick that he refuses to move off on and maybe just negotiate a little bit more to make sure that you get the very, very best player instead of maybe just your second option. And then Aaron Boone, I think, has done a really good job the first half of the year, but he's regressed back to what he was doing last year. So that's the way I kind of view it. It's like they're not all to blame, but they've all played a part in this whole massive cake of fucking shit.
Cake. Nice big old shit cake.
Now, let me bring this observation up that I got from fan yesterday of the Twin Bill podcast. He thinks that after the Astros series, the management took over in the front office. Is that possible, or do you think it's not?
Because I'm seeing a different Aaron Boone.
Yeah. What was I going to say? You want to move on to the Peraza stuff, and then we could move a little bit forward?
Let's do it.
All right. Obviously, Oswald Peraza got called up today for the Yankees. His first at bat in AAA was a homer, and his last one was a homer. 19 home runs on the season in AAA. Got called up late. I mean, he's still going to be eligible for the postseason roster because he's on the 40. But how much of a spark will it provide? How much will the Yankees actually play him is going to go into effect. And I'll start out with Donald. Your thoughts on this move, what it could mean, stuff like that.
Well, listen, Brian Cashman said at the start of the year that he was already his defense was already majorly ready, which is why I didn't really understand why they went all in on IKF to inherit the Josh Donaldson contract if we already had a shortstop who was already MLB ready defensively, because that was the only reason why they brought in IKF, defense. So they already had Peraza just sitting there. But okay, so you wanted Peraza to develop. I'm excited about this. He's freaking awesome. I mean, he had like 4 hits the other day. 19 home runs, as you say. His numbers in AAA is freaking astounding. And he plays phenomenal defense. I'm excited, and I think he will make a difference. Obviously, it means that we're going to get a little bit less IKF, and that can only be a good thing. And also, you know, we already saw the boost that Oswaldo Cabrera gave. So you're going to get a similar boost from Peraza, possibly even more so, because Peraza is a higher prospect. But I want to temper expectations. First of all, the Yankees have a lot of problems, not just with the batting lineup, but like the bullpen. Don't really have a closer right now. They're kind of all over the shop with the starting pitching depth because of injuries and shit. And then also, if you look at the lineup, they don't really know what they're doing with Benintendi or LeMahieu, where they're playing them all. And also, as I say, after Aaron Judge, there's no one that slugs other than Stanton, but he's in a slump, and Rizzo, and he's hurt. So it's asking a lot for Peraza to turn this thing around. But he's got the potential. He's got the ability. I want the Yankees to not try and be the smartest people in the room and just let him develop. I mean, listen, I think we can see right now that the Yankees are not the best team in the American League now. So there's that pressure where they can just go, right, I think we need to focus on developing this shortstop prospect. Let him play it out. He's not going to be perfect every game. And I don't want the fans to go, oh, you wanted Peraza, blah, blah, blah. Just shut up and allow him to develop, okay? Because he's gonna be really good, I'm sure of it. But I just think we need to temper the expectations a little bit, put him in the bottom of the order, and just let him play great defense and get a couple of hits here and there.
Right. Sox, did you want to say something?
No, I'm good.
All right. Jets West says, where do we stand on the Donald Bingo board tonight? How many
Well,
terms
it's
do we
really
got?
hours. It's really hours between the three of us. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We got 9 to go, everybody.
Holy crap.
Find the secret terms.
Yes. That being said, all those. Luca, your thoughts on the Peraza call-up?
This should have been done last year, if you think about it,
Yep.
because we really had no answer at shortstop because everybody was talking about the story of Andrew Velasquez. Nice story from the Bronx. Not the guy. Peraza was ready last year. He was ready this year. The Yankees hesitant to call him up. And they really should have, again, we come to this consensus. We really should have never done the trade for IKF. Again, we talked about how many times. But overall, like, there's a possibility he could have been the starting shortstop this season.
Yep.
The Yankees could have, listen, not that I would have been a fan of it. The Yankees could have not went after Correa and Seager and Semien. That's not what they did. Or Simmons. They didn't have to trade for IKF either. But they could have said, you know what, it's gonna be Peraza's spot to lose. But they maybe won a competition. They wanted to hold them longer. It's all about service manipulation. Manipulation service time.
Great point.
So I got something on my Twitter here. Michigan Yankees, who usually gets stuff from reporters and stuff like that. This is according to John Heyman. Anthony Rizzo is also likely to opt out with $16 million in a year left, joining the free agent market that includes Wilson Contreras, Josh Bell, Edwin Diaz, Taiwan Walker, Brandon Nimmo, Kenley Jansen, Jose Abreu, and Chris Bassett. I think faces should also be added to a bingo board.
Is it possible you could create a bingo card online, then you print it out?
You could
Yeah, we could do that.
generate it,
Oh, we could do a
Generate
bingo
it.
card.
send it out to viewers before the show.
Who the fuck is playing first base next year?
I don't know, unfortunately. Oh man. My out of
Now that contract looks shit. Maybe we shouldn't have given him that fucking player option. It should have been a team option.
Then maybe I don't know. Maybe Rizzo would have been playing badly in the next year if Judge is gone. Maybe if it's a team option, maybe he just plays poorly and wants to get traded. I don't fucking know. I'm just speculating, okay? But I do want to ask Sox maybe like 1 or 2 questions about his Sox quickly before we go. I would say the NBA is our next stop because
Uh-huh.
at that, I know
Yeah.
we're all excited. You guys can also keep asking your questions. Like, subscribe to both channels. Also, Pinstripe Chronicles as well. What's been going on with Houck and Eovaldi? I see they're on the IL. Same thing with Hosmer. What's going on there? I obviously know you guys aren't in a playoff run, but why?
I feel like there's some BS going on here with the injuries. Just like Luca, kind of pointed out. Can you got me?
Yeah,
we can-
the phantom
okay.
injuries, right? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
phantom injuries. Yeah, I mean, you know what it is. There's a little bit of a hip tweak with Eovaldi. He's out for weeks on end. I mean, a rib issue, I believe, with Hosmer. I don't know what else. He goes down. You know, it's obvious that it's not our season, and we're in last place right now. But Xander's hitting the ball well. JD's hitting the ball well as of the late. The last series or two. There's a couple things to get excited about, but yeah, the phantom injuries just kind of pissed me off. The Red Sox are quiet about it. They don't make up any bullshit excuses, but they don't give you any info. So we don't really know much about it.
Interesting there. Also, I see you guys have Jurice Familia on the roster, and you also have Brian Bello and Cutter Crawford as a part of the starting rotation again. I know both of them didn't start off very well. How they've been pitching thus far.
I like Cutter a lot, and it's ironic, but his cutter is the most hittable pitch in his whole arsenal. It's guys are killing his cut fastball this year, but it's one of those where we realized that we need help in the rotation, and they threw him in there and said, you're going to have to sink or swim. He's done a lot this year as far as going through the waves of going through major league lineups. He gets hit around the second time through the lineup, but he's going to be a good pitcher, And as far as Belo, he had 4 innings in his last outing, struck out 2. The big conversation with him and his fastball. He's got his fastball back up to 95 to 97. He came up, he couldn't get his fastball over 93, and guys were hitting him around. He's got some more velocity on there. I think he's putting on some weight. So it's nice to see him. The Sox are going to need a lot of pitching. It's obvious this year. The 25-run game, the 28-run game that would put it over for me. I'm like, we got to do something about this.
Yeah, and then Jairus Familia, and also something I want to add on as well, because we talked about him earlier on in the season, having a really good year, someone who destroys the Yankees. Devers has been in a slump lately, I've noticed. What's going on there?
Yeah, he went on the IL and came back, and it just wasn't the same. It's just weird with him because it seems like old Raffy, where he was making a bunch of defensive errors. Not that those are here as much now, but he's throwing the ball a little bit over the field. I don't know if it's a focus thing with him, but it doesn't feel right with him. If you remember, young Rafael Devers could not hit a high fastball to save his life. He's back to it. He's just not seeing the fastball well right now. But it was right after the injury when he came back. I don't know what the issue is. He'll get back to it though.
All right. Now, if anyone doesn't have any final thoughts or whatever, I think we'll move into one of the bigger elephants in the room today. Luca and Donald hosted a space on it. The Knicks ultimately were left out.
Alex looks like he's wearing a do-rag.
It does. Actually,
boy, people think I'm fucking racist. It's a hat. See?
No, I didn't think that.
I wasn't thinking that either.
No. I'm not saying you guys, but anyway, so Donovan Mitchell was traded for 3 unprotected picks and 3 players.
2 pick swaps as well.
2 pick swaps as well. Obviously not a good day to be a Giants, Yankees. What?
I also got some further information on that. Woj says at the start of trade talks in July, the Knicks offered Utah a Donovan Mitchell package, including R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson, and 3 unprotected firsts.
Yeah, Donald,
you might obviously declined.
Donald, you might want to take the floor on this one. I know you said you're going to go on a rant again.
Well, I mean, that is a huge offer. I'm just really confused with this RJ Barrett stuff. Like, where are they on RJ Barrett? If they were happy to include him in trade talks, why did they extend him right in the middle of trade talks?
I don't know.
Good question.
Somebody said Alex B of Knicks Central tweets, Leon Rose is a moron for even offering this. 1. 2, this shows it was all about draft picks, and the Knicks should have offered 1 more and taken RJ and Mitch off the table. C, Cavs traded less than this offer and got it done somehow. So do you now, with this information come out, do you think Danny Ainge had some sort of grudge that he said, you know what, I'll take less for a deal? Like, I'm not trying to, bow down to the Knicks organization for not trading for him, but it's just interesting to include these details. I don't know why Woj include these details after the trade, but
can I ask something?
Go ahead.
Do you think all of that 6 first-round pick bullshit, do you think that was phantom?
It could have been. That's called negotiating through the media.
Who even came up with that?
That term?
The 6 first-round picks.
6, that was like a Woj thing. That was a Shams thing. That was reported through the national media. Again, this is negotiating through the media at its finest. You put the put the smoke screen out there that Ainge wants 6, 7, 8 first-round picks plus players, and now he accepts less, which is interesting.
It's literally just like the Soto trade.
Mark Berman said prior to obviously all this happening, he said on Knicks Fan TV, he said that this trade all comes down to unprotected draft picks.
Evan Siddery said the same thing, and I tend to believe that.
It all came down to unprotected draft picks, and the Knicks were only willing to give up 2.
And the minimum they asked for was 4. I would have done
Right.
4.
I would have done 4 as well. At the end of the day, the more unprotected draft picks you give up, the more chance you are of keeping a hold of some of your prized young guys that you love so much. But here's a Bleacher Report article here that says the New York thought it had Jazz over a barrel before Mitchell to Cavs
I have
trade.
some news. Anthony
Go for
Volpe's
it.
going to AAA.
Oh shit! Okay.
Okay.
So it says here in the article that hubris may have been the difference between the Knicks landing Mitchell and seeing Utah dealing to Cleveland instead. They thought they had Danny Ainge over a barrel, a league source told Mark Berman. They held back on their best offers of picks and players, and Danny got his 3 unprotected because it all came down to unprotected picks, and the Knicks were not willing to give up the unprotected picks, as well as the young talent. At the end of the day, Utah didn't value the Knicks players as much as the Knicks value them.
Of course.
And frankly, I think us as a fan base, we tend to overrate the Knicks players because I'll be honest, if you read a lot of scouts, they're not overly high on RJ Barrett. Like they think he's got a chance of being pretty good, maybe good, but they're not overly saying that he's the superstar and stuff. But Knicks fans are absolutely fall in love with the guy, and that's cool, But you kind of have to. You kind of have to see the wood for the trees a little bit, and you have to look at what Cleveland got and gave up. And I think Utah will be happy with this. I think they did really well getting Agbaji. Yeah, Sexton is a decent role player.
Sure.
They got some picks, and now Cleveland. By the way, Cleveland fixed their rebuild a hell of a lot quicker than the Knicks have.
That's not a question.
They got it done right. So I really don't think Leon Rose deserves any credit here. And from what I'm reading, I think Leon Rose talked himself out of this Donovan Mitchell trade. That's my personal opinion because I think he thought that he had this. He had nothing.
I watched Clutch B-Ball's video earlier today, and he said it perfectly. Leon Rose stepped his foot in the water to wet his feet, and then he didn't make the big splash.
Yeah. You can't go in and you can't be half pregnant again. You really can't. But here's where it's really bad that they didn't get Donovan Mitchell. Basically, everything they did was designed to get Donovan Mitchell.
That's what Fred Katz said. Exactly.
Every move they made was designed to get Donovan Mitchell, and they failed to get him. And then this whole RJ Barrett thing is what I keep kind of coming back to because it's a mixed narrative, and I don't really like that the Knicks are shooting around on social media posting, "Oh, he's back." Blah blah blah, but his re-signing contract. You're trying to trade him.
It's their PR machine at work, Donald. That's what happens.
Of course, but I'm not stupid. I can see it. It's ridiculous. But you're trying to trade him. And the thing is, remember when Leon Rose came up with that imaginary deadline? Oh, you've got to agree to this trade, or we're going to give RJ Barrett a new contract. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? Do you think Danny Ainge was going to oh no. I have to accept this deal. I mean, they were like, all right, fucking sign him. I don't give a fuck. And because the truth is, it made the negotiations a hell of a lot more difficult. Danny Ainge didn't want to trade Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks. He didn't want to do it. He never did want to do it. He was only going to do it if the Knicks went hand over fist to make sure it happened. Okay,
you got to get some pulse on it.
Exactly.
You got to have a pulse, and I don't think Leon Rose has that.
No, and Leon Rose doesn't have the experience. He's not a savvy president. He's not someone who's got experience. He's not Ojiri. He's not fucking
Sam Presti.
Exactly. He's not an experienced president. He's not someone that can just make smart trades happen. Leon Rose has basically failed at everything that he's done since coming to the Knicks. I'll be quite honest. I think he has.
I think a lot of people do overrate him, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people are overlooking that this is a crucial season for his regime.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, because what have we heard? The first things we heard when Leon Rose and William Wesley and Brock Allen and all these different guys were hired, it's because CAA, they know players like Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, this guy, that guy, Booker, CAA. CAA was blown up our ass. They draft CAA players. They draft Kentucky players. They're all about stars. And what have we got so far? Nothing, because he didn't dip. He only dipped his toe in the water. He's like, do I really do this or do I not do this? You got to make a full decision. It's indecision. We are, again, how many times do I have to say it? This team has more questions than answers right now.
You do know that Chris Paul was offered to us, and Leon Rose was again, I'm not sure. Should I?
I know the Knicks were in trade negotiations about 2 years ago when Chris Paul had that good season in Phoenix, his first year. But ultimately,
it was then he got moved to Phoenix, and then he obviously turned things around there. But prior to the Phoenix move, when he was, I know that he was offered to the Knicks, and again, Leon Rose was like, I'm not sure. Should I? And this is his thing, man. He's like. He doesn't go all the way in. He's sort of like, I'm not sure. Maybe I kind of want to do it, but maybe I don't want to do it. And he's not a good president. He really is. And I think I like Worldwide Wes. I think that the draft picks that we made are good, but I think a lot of it is down to who he's hired. I think the decisions that come down to Leon Rose, he's gone all the way wrong, basically all the way through.
I mean, you think of all the the mishandling of all assets, like drafting Obi Toppin, but he's not your starter, and you've misutilized him there. You trade for Cam Reddish, but your coach clearly does not like it, and he sits his ass on the bench.
Something as well.
Now, no, hold on a second. Now you force Thibodeau's hand to play the young guys, and Thibodeau, I think, in spite, is going to not do that. I think he's going to double up on the vet minutes, and also Thibodeau is feeding Berman information, which is going to piss off the front office, and they're sick of his shit. So it's a war between friends.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, what I was gonna add is two things. A, one of those players in the trade was a draft pick from this year. You know, it would have helped if we would have drafted somebody.
Exactly.
We drafted Usman Deng and then traded him to the OKC Thunder just because.
So that's A. B, they're not willing to trade these role players. And yeah, I don't know, has Julius Randle even been in talks? Not that they would take him, but has he been in talks to go?
Yeah, Utah didn't want anything to do with him.
You need Alex. The contract is so bad. You need to attach assets.
But that's not even the point, Luca. You were talking about how Mitchell Robinson was available, how RJ was available, how Evan Fournier was available in that trade. Whether Utah wanted to take him or not, it's the principle of the point. As of right now, we haven't gotten anything in terms of that. So my knowledge is they would rather trade RJ and fucking Mitchell Robinson. You know, I've soured on that guy. They'd rather trade those two than try to get Julius Randle out of here.
No, his name was basically never in talks, Alex. They never offered him. I'm sure they would, but it never became public.
Yeah, we overpaid for both guys that we put on the trade for Donovan Mitchell. Re-signing Mitchell Robinson for above market value. And again, I would say the same for RJ Barrett. I think at least it wasn't the max. But I mean, I would say 108 to between 120 over 4 for RJ Barrett is a little high for his skill set.
It's what he could be, not what he is right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone a penny over 90.
No, I agree, but also the principle of the point, and my friend brings it up all the time. You miss 100% of the shots you don't make. And with that being said, that's one thing that, once again, that pisses me off, is that they didn't throw Randall in at all, and they haven't thrown him in trade talks at all, and they're not willing to give up.
Don't even want him.
Yeah, Exactly. Like I know the Lakers would have wanted Cam Reddish in a 3-team.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not happening now.
I know
real
the front
quick-
office loves him, Julius Randle. They love some Julius Randle.
Yeah, they do. I also think Leon Rose miscalculated, considering I think everything he did was planning on a Donovan Mitchell trade. Like for instance, acquiring the 3 heavily protected picks. He thought it was going to be the amount of picks that Utah would want, but it wasn't that. It was they wanted unprotected. They didn't just want a barrage of protected picks. That's got no value, and that's what he got wrong. So I'm sorry when you trade away a valuable lottery asset to acquire 3 heavily protected picks that won't translate for another 3 or 4 years. I mean, what self-respecting GM would think that's a good deal, apart from Leon Rose? And I think that's a terrible use of assets. And again, he traded back into the first round, right? Now, he could have then drafted a guy and used that further to Alex's point, use that as a trade piece to put it over the top to get Donovan Mitchell. If it was as simple as like Agbaji going the other way, then we could have gone Agbaji. We could have gone Agbaji ourselves by trading back up. So there's no excuse for this.
Instead we waited till the second round to draft a fucking fry cook.
And he fucking sucks.
He's nothing. Let me
That's
also
a good
say,
point.
Can I also say something?
What's that? Sox was going to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm
Sox.
just gonna say it was a good point that all that going on, if they would have at least drafted somebody, but like you said, they drafted it. So what's the direct? It seems like there's no direction.
What direction are they going?
That's exactly
in?
our point, Sox.
Yeah,
we have no direction. We have more questions than answers. My point was, this was a very top-heavy draft, and if you drafted somebody like a Baji or whoever was available, they weren't going to be stars either immediately or at all in their careers or projected to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been so easier to give away. It's like you're giving a future role player up. That's what you're doing. That's what you would have done. I'm sure. I mean, I don't know if let's just put ourselves in this situation. What if the Knicks drafted Ousmane Deng and they attempt to trade him to the Jazz? Would they want him? They probably would. Because they're getting set for the rebuild. They're going to be trading off all their veteran guys. They're going to focus on their younger guys.
They wanted young lottery. They wanted unprotected picks, and they wanted some young talent on team friendly, deals, and that would have made sense. I just think that the Knicks did everything ass backwards.
I don't know. This team is I'm going to say it again. This team is more questions than answers.
So, let's look at this team now. Okay, so now Donovan Mitchell's out of the question. That hurts just to even say, because I put everything in Donovan Mitchell, so I'm very hard about this. But okay, so Jalen Brunson is solid.
Yeah,
I think he's a lot better than a lot of people are giving credit for. I think he's a really good player. You got RJ Barrett at 3. Fournier should not be a 2 because he doesn't play any defense.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of defense on that. Julius Randle playing at 4. He doesn't play any defense. Mitch Robinson doesn't have any offense.
Much for Tibbs fits.
Yeah. So you got 2 lefty dominant players in Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett and Julius Randle as 3, in fact. Oh boy, I don't see the fit.
And Tibbs has a very old mindset. His mindset and his philosophy is very outdated. It's like the 2004 Pistons I keep comparing it to.
Yeah. And the only guy that has a mid-range jump shot is Jalen Brunson in the entire starting 5.
Yeah. Looking at that, yeah, absolutely.
That's a tough realization right there.
That levels the space. The spacing is kind of concerning too, because you have RJ and Jalen driving to the basket. Yes, Jalen can shoot threes, but he doesn't do it often. Fournier can, depends who you start. Randall's going to take up the paint, and he's going to pretend he can shoot from 3.
Oh
Mitch is inside the paint, and yeah. I'm telling you, I'm going to list every variable for this I'm going to list every variable for this team right now. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Tom Thibodeau, and I think that's it. And the veterans, wonder if they're going to get traded or not, because that's the most, that's the most important pieces right now. Young kids growing too, but they're obviously variables as well. But they got to, again, it's, as I said, more questions than answers. Even we said this even going to the offseason. We went with Brunson. Okay, we got our point guard, but what else? What else is going to happen? Are we going to trade Julius Randle? No, the front office is insistent in keeping him.
I mean, what's the best case scenario for the Knicks this year? Best case.
First
Playing
round.
seed?
Playing, okay. But
That's probably it.
Almost
First round
impossible that they make the playoffs.
First round win. That's being
Playing
wishful.
seed with you go into the first round, actually.
I don't see that happening.
No.
Who are they going to beat? In the
Best
eighth
case,
seed?
though. I mean, that's the best case.
Yeah.
It's the best
For me, best case scenario is we make the play in. I don't even think there's any chance of making the playoffs. I think it's even
East is
beyond.
good.
And so then we'll just have a average lottery pick again, like last year, which Leon Rose didn't fucking value because he traded away as soon as he possibly could. So I'll be honest, I don't see much upside here. This is going to be a mediocre team. They'll win maybe 35 games, 37 maybe.
I know people saying like 40, 45.
What?
In what world?
I don't know.
Because if you look at the Eastern Conference, who are we better than?
I think,
the Wizards?
Let me just say this. I think what would stipulate, I think what would project the Knicks to be like the top of their peak is RJ takes a big leap, quickly does his thing. Obi Toppin does his thing. Julius Randle's actually a competent
Can't do
basketball
your thing
player.
without minutes.
Thibodeau actually looks like he's a decent coach. So, yeah, that's the variables for this thing. Listen, I'm going to name all the best teams in the Eastern Conference, not in any order. Miami, Philadelphia, Boston, Milwaukee, that's 4. Cleveland, that's 5.
Cleveland.
I think Charlotte's
Brooklyn.
better. That's 6. 7 is Brooklyn. 8.
Did you say Philly?
Hawks. The Hawks are better.
100%.
Let me look at the Eastern. I'm going to do the whole Eastern Conference teams right now. I already mentioned Philadelphia. Toronto's better, so that's 9. I forgot the fucking Bulls. That's 10 teams better than us. We already
forgot about the Bulls. So we're not even in the play-in.
no, not at all. I just listed 10 teams that are better than the Knicks. All of them.
That's why you have to make that trade. That's why you have to make that Donovan Mitchell
Yeah.
trade, because then you're just stuck in this
rattle
below
off.
average team.
I'm going to rattle them off, everybody. Celtics, Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, Cleveland Cavaliers, Brooklyn Nets, Toronto Raptors, Chicago Bulls, Milwaukee Bucks, Philadelphia 76ers, Atlanta Hawks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's 10th team. Hornets, I said. The Hornets.
Yep.
Who are we better than? The Pistons?
We're better than the Pistons and the Wizards.
The Pacers
Maybe
are
not
like
the Pistons.
the Pacers are like the same level of we are.
Yeah, they are. But they have a direction. The thing is, even the Pistons have a direction. They're rebuilding by going in and getting Ivy and Kate Cunningham. They've got young stars that are legitimate stars, not made up stars in Knick fans' heads, but legitimate young stars that can develop. I think that Cade Cunningham and Ivy have higher ceilings than what the Knicks young players who were all falling over ourselves, overpaying for, have. So I think we're better than the Pistons for sure, but they have a direction. They're rebuilding, and the Wizards just suck. So we're better than the Wizards, but
It's
It's an 11th or 12th seed for us.
well, I mean,
it is. I mean, I think there's a chance we get the 10th seed because I think Brunson's really good. He showed up in the playoffs, but it's a very low ceiling on this team.
I mean, you look at it even from a casual standpoint. It's RJ, It's Jalen Brunson. Then it's a bunch of scrubs. Literally. I mean, Randall's a scrub of his own. Fournier's a scrub of his own. Mitchell's a
I like
scrub
Derrick Rose. I think Derrick Rose is awesome.
Listen, Fournier is a good shooter, but he doesn't. As
Is,
Donald
is,
said, he doesn't
hold
play
on.
any
Is
defense.
Rose even going to get minutes, though?
Yeah, he will. He will. You
Okay,
can bet on
beside him.
Alex, how do you question that when Tom Thibodeau's the coach? Of course he's going
That's
to find
true.
minutes.
True, that's a good point. Is he going to have productive minutes though? Is he really?
That's what
I
mean.
think he will.
I don't know how
depends-
it's going
it
to
depends
work,
how-
though, because
it
Brunson will
depends.
be commanding most of the minutes. He'll play like 45 minutes.
Fournier, who knows what Fournier is going to do?
He's not going to play any defense. That's what he's going to do.
That's right, because this roster doesn't fit. That's why you have to make the Mitchell trade, because nothing fits here.
Yeah.
The bench fits. I like the bench. I don't like the starting lineup. The starting lineup's a freaking mess.
It's like as Joe Judge said, putting round pegs in square holes.
Yeah,
Everybody says that. Don't take that as Joe Judge's word.
that's a
Joe
good.
Judge-
That's a good segue to talk about the Giants.
He
Well,
thought
yeah.
about that.
Well, I do want to ask Sox.
I want
what
to
are your
say,
thoughts?
hold on. Wait, go ahead. Let Sox talk.
What are your thoughts on this whole Mitchell bullshit with the Knicks?
Did you say the Dicks?
Yes, the New York Dicks. Fuck
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm a fan of the Eastern Conference, so I look at the Knicks from more of a casual standpoint. I don't know them deep in there, but if they dip their feet in that water, man, you got to go for it. Especially if you know the answer, man. You guys looked at it from a good standpoint. There's 10, 11 teams that are better than you just in that conference. Like you got to go, man. If you got a chance to go, pull the trigger. And now Donovan Mitchell's on a team that who knows, they could go and get really good really quick. So it's unfortunate.
Oh,
I feel for
God.
you guys.
I'm not going to post it because it's too inappropriate. I have to do it off air, but I'm going to show you. I would show you guys something off air. Anyway, I was going to say, Donald, what are your expectations for the Cavs? Do you think they're a top 6 seed now?
100%.
I mean, you have
Without
Jared Allen
question.
at center, Evan Mobley at power forward, Donovan Mitchell shooting guard, small forward Isaac Okoro, who could just be your
And Darius
3-3 guy.
Garland, who for me is a better player than RJ Barrett.
Well, he's so far been an
That's
all-star,
fair.
so you can't really argue that. And then you have Kevin Love on the bench, so is Karis LeVert. Maybe Ricky Rubio comes back. I think he might have been traded. But that is shaping up to be a really good team. And I think you maybe can get another star in the future with how they're building it. So
Bench depth is going to be very important in the East, and I mean, those are good players coming off the bench. That's what killed Boston. So
It's a good scenario for Donovan Mitchell actually in Cleveland because they've got plenty of size, they've got defense, they got rim protection, and now they've got the star scorer. I mean, they've kind of basically got everything now. I like their team better than Brooklyn's. I'll be honest.
yeah, it's a little more even keeled.
Yeah,
Brooklyn. I mean, Brooklyn's just they're. I don't know what I would call them.
a clusterfuck.
Okay, clusterfuck, because they brought essentially KD and Kyrie back, knowing that they don't want the head coach there, and the head coach is still there. So it's like,
It's a
okay,
Muppet show.
it is a Muppet show. Because
And Durant only came back because Danny Ainge somehow managed to get $1 million draft picks for Rudy Gobert, and it fucked the trade market for everybody else. So it was impossible to trade Durant.
And Steve Nash is a Kevin Durant Kyrie puppet, but yet they want to fire their puppet for a new puppet. Muppets and Puppets. That should be the name of Brooklyn. That's Muppets and Puppets.
When Kyrie Irving said they're going to be your like co-GMs, and I mean, I was like, oh,
Sean Marks should have been fired, not given an extension. And
the inmates are running the asylum over there.
Exactly.
So, I mean, the talent alone, they'll make the playoffs, but they're never going to go much farther than that because the team unity itself is pretty fucking broken.
they got swept. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant got swept in the first round.
They played like shit against Boston.
Would you ever
Did.
imagine that?
How do you look at Kevin Durant and Kyrie the same, even though they wanted trade requests and they played like shit against Boston? How do you look at them the same?
Because the media holds water.
Yeah, Woj does carry a lot of water for the Brooklyn Nets on the payroll daily.
They know who their buddies are, unfortunately.
But the Celtics are special. Are you excited for the Celtics?
Oh boy, man, I'm still obviously hurting from last year, but just this close. Steph Curry's so good. It's just for the longest time it was Milwaukee that was the hump. We couldn't even get to the finals, and we do, and just you face the buzzsaw that got hot, and I'm excited. I think we're gonna win the East. To be honest with you.
What do you think of the offseason that they had?
I think it's interesting, man. Like people wanted to trade Jaylen Brown so easily. The disrespect for this guy.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is. Like
excellent player.
Excellent, man. I'm a big believer of you got to keep Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown together and build this thing like you've been doing in the past. The Celtics fans that want to go get KD for 2 years, whatever it's going to be, I don't understand, man. I like the way that they kept it together.
Yeah. And you got yourself a point guard now. I like Brogdon.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm excited.
Didn't Luca? Didn't the report come out and say about Jason Tatum hurt his
He
hand?
He was playing with a broken wrist the entire finals.
Yeah.
So you can see why he was so inconsistent.
Yeah, he was very inconsistent for sure.
Yeah. But I guess we could segue the last 20 or so minutes into some Giants, whatever. Sox, I know I haven't spoken too much about the Giants, but what are your thoughts? I know you've been watching some preseason football like myself.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited every single year, and it's just like, so hopeful that they're going to turn around this year, but I really don't see it happening, to be honest with you. I'm hoping we can win 6 games. I don't know about you guys if you put out predictions or whatever. I'm hoping we can win 6 games. So Daniel Jones, make or break year. I'm a big fan of him, coming right after Eli, and I wanted him to be big right off the bat, but they didn't pick up his option, so he's got to ball out this year.
Donald, thoughts on the Blake Martinez release?
It's kind of confusing. Like, as I say, it could have been done at the start of the offseason. Instead of renegotiating to get him down to a minimum, you could have just cut him and gone into free agency. Why is Darius Slayton still here? Like, there had to be other priorities in order to free up cap. I know I hear that it's a mutual decision. I don't know what that means. Like, whether they didn't see him as a scheme fit or whatever, but surely they could have figured that out prior to camp. And maybe prior to the draft, and maybe you could have gotten something for him. He's definitely not an undesirable asset. The dude was like legit, very close to being an all-pro middle linebacker for us 2 years ago. Prior to him getting hurt, he was freaking awesome.
Teams would kill for a capable linebacker.
100%. He in a bad year, he gets 120 tackles a year.
He leads the NFL in tackles.
That's what I'm saying. In a bad year, he gets 120 tackles a year. So I don't totally get – it's not like he was a Logan Ryan where he's towards the end of his career. He's still in his prime. He had another year or two in him. Don't agree with it. Again, he didn't have a long-term future, so it's not a big deal. I think this is
Donald, I think you're tapping out a little bit. Your mic's having that issue again, or whatever it is.
2 seconds.
All right,
Yeah,
Luca, what do you?
Real fast.
Yeah, he was talking real fast. Luca, what do you think of the Blake Martinez release?
I think it's a little bit questionable since I guess it's interesting because this is an evaluation year for the Giants that I've said so many times. But you need a veteran guy like Blake Martinez in there. You have a ton of inexperience in inside linebacker. It's kind of mind-boggling in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree, man. And this dude leads the NFL in tackles. I know I just said it, but I'm a big Blake Martinez fan, man. He plays with heart, energy. He was a leader of that defense.
He apparently was not a scheme fit, apparently.
I mean, that's fucking bullshit.
Kind of gives that Xavier McKinney was given the green dot, and he wasn't given captain, but Donald's back. But
I
for
feel like
my-
the guys rallied around Blake Martinez.
Yeah.
I feel like they did.
no, I mean that's true. My thoughts initially, first of all, yeah. Let me go to my thoughts. I see in the long term, not in the short term, and it's going to give us trouble the first 2 weeks because our starting linebackers are Tate Crowder and Mike.
Nope. Let me just say this: people are questioning on Twitter, would he have been the same after an ACL tear?
He still would have been more capable
Probably.
than the rest of the core. I mean, I would take Blake Martinez coming off a torn ACL over Austin Calitro. I would take him over Micah McFadden. So, like, certain people are saying, well, Michael McFadden's going to come out and he's going to tear it up. He's a 6th round pick. Are you really expecting that? I mean, yeah, he played well at Indiana. Yeah, and a lot of guys play good at different schools, but they're not going to come on and, translate right away.
There's a learning curve.
Corey Ballantine had a great preseason. He had, I think, 1 or 2 interceptions in 2019. Does that mean he it did translate the regular season? No. And he had to develop, and he never fully developed. So for all we know, Micah McFadden could be a bust. And I don't want to say that because I like the guy and he's on my team. But first few weeks, I know a lot of people are going to downplay this. Derrick Henry, week 1. Week 2, Christian McCaffrey. Week 3, Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard. Pollard is honestly more I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Jeffrey says Boston Red Sox won tonight.
Down 9-3.
David Montgomery, week 4. Who the fuck do we play? Week 5, Aaron Jones. We play some really good running backs. Those are not just names. They're very good running backs. Week 6. Who the fuck do we play week 6? The Ravens. How are we going to stop the run then?
No
Have
chance.
fun. Have fun.
So, listen, we could talk about, well, is Aziz going to come back? Is Tibbs going to come back? They're going to be back in that time frame. But you need something from the linebacker position. You need something from the inside spot. And guess what? Tate Crowder hasn't been great over the course of his career. He's been average at best for what he is, and that's a 7th round pick. And then Micah McFadden, he's going to have a lot of mistakes. He's going to have a lot of mistakes on field. And you know what? There's 2 things that come to mind when I talk about this. A, cutting Quincy Roche over O'Shane Ximines is bad because O'Shane Ximines cannot set the edge. Quincy Roche can. O'Shane Ximines cannot get a consistent pass rush. O'Shane Ximines can. Talk about the blitzing this defense is going to do. And let me say this as well. I don't want to put this totally, in terms of bad juju and anything on the Giants. But Micah McFadden's ceiling isn't necessarily too high. So we're going to have to get another linebacker in the next few years. And Blake Martinez, yes, he wasn't going to be here beyond this year. But moving forward, the first few weeks, I would like to see a competent linebacker. And that makes the Tony Jefferson signing a little bit more important because of the different packages Wink Martindale's going to throw out.
I love the Jefferson signing. That was good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I expected that. I mean, I also like the Jason Pinnock signing, to be fair. The waiver claim, because he's a solid
from the Jets, the safety. Yeah, he killed it.
We should have never cut him.
Give us a breakdown on that Pinnock.
Listen, this guy was playing with the first teams in training camp. I'll explain why I'm so pissed off about it. Because this guy, he was actually a 6th or 5th round draft pick from last year, corner at Pittsburgh. He was majorly beat on the deep ball. Okay, so Jets decided to put him at safety for about most of the year last year. He was actually quite decent. I didn't see a film review, but he wasn't noticeable, to be fair. That means he was probably, should go good stuff in the film. Go to this year. Did Robert Saleh speaks highly of this guy? I understand, coach speak and what really players do on the field is a different thing. So you have Ashton. Everybody talks about Ashton Davis. He sucks. 3rd round draft pick from 2020. He sucks. And everybody's chirping about him OTAs. When training camp comes, nothing. Jason, when LaMarcus Joyner was injured in training camp, do you want to know who took the first team training camp reps? It was Jason Pinnock at safety. and he did very well. He did very well. He was solid in the preseason, and he has football IQ. He has football attributes. You will like that.
Alex, what are we going to do at outside corner? Did we really acquire anyone
Put
in
Jason
the waiver?
Pinnock out there.
Is he going to play?
Pinnock hasn't played many snaps at corner, even though he has. He's not.
He
too
played
much.
corner in college, but they converted him to safety.
Right.
So
Well, that's at Pittsburgh. That's in college. That was 2 years ago. No,
Julian
to my
Love?
knowledge, it's still going to be Aaron Robinson because Nick McLeod they picked up. I think I want to say he's a converted guy as well. Let me take a look.
Yeah, he struggles in coverage.
Nick McLeod, where are we? Former Notre Dame guy. So he's a corner, but he hasn't played too much. Like he was an undrafted free agent at Dame and NC State. He went to the Bills, then the Bengals, then the Bills again. I mean,
Here we go.
I don't know.
Bills.
That's the connection, right? Jack Anderson, the lineman we got from the Bills and the Eagles too. Remember, our assistant GM is from the Eagles.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go to somebody had a couple remarks about a guy by the name of McLeod. So let me go. I'm trying to find it right now. Nick McLeod, yeah.
was it locked on or
No, okay, here it is. Here it is. No, that's not Tony Jefferson. I'm not talking about Tony Jefferson. Here we are. This is McLeod is interesting. Was in real competition to be a depth piece, but just lost out. Got snatched by Cincinnati last year when the Bills cut him, and then the Bills grabbed him back the first chance they got during the year. He's fast and athletic and competes. Saw a bunch of safety snaps with the twos, so he can work safety, outside corner, and slot in a pinch. Solid bottom end depth guy that has some potential for more. Can play press and off coverage, both man and zone. No real strong suit, but nothing he's overly deficient in.
Okay.
But
He's a
once
body.
again, that's an undrafted free agent. Are we really going to put him in an outside corner?
Yeah.
So that's
The lack of depth we have at the corner positions.
like I feel a little
Scary.
bit better about the O line because we signed Tyree Phillips from the
Yeah.
Ravens. So there's that. And we signed Jack Anderson, right? But I just don't get the whole Martinez thing because you literally created a hole to make a position better, even though you could have done something else. Like you could have traded Slayton, and I'm not, swapping my takes here, but I literally said how many days ago? I said as long as you give up something for Slayton, you're fine. And Slayton clears $2.5 million. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that was more than Martinez was making.
100%.
$2.5 million. And then if you get rid of him, you could sign somebody for cheap. You could have gotten Tyler Johnson off waivers. Then again, I don't know if the Texans were ahead or whatever the case was. But you could Tyler Johnson, Jareth Stearns from the Bucks, I'm told is a very good guy in terms of that stuff. So it's not like Darius Slayton is irreplaceable. He's replaceable. But
is he staying or are we still
Yeah,
looking
he's
at a
staying.
trade?
So, I mean, there's going to have to be maybe another move down the line, but this just wasn't the move. And if you wanted to do this, go out there and, release him in free agency. Not now. And let me say this as well. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Gettleman this, Gettleman that. And I've been critical when it's asked for that. But this is fucked up on this regime. Scheme, whether he was a scheme fit, whether he wasn't a scheme fit, whatever.
Mhm.
Now you have Tay Crowder, who started a lot of last year because Blake Martinez was injured. He's not too capable of that linebacker position. Hell, this is his third year playing the spot. Maybe even fourth because he is a converted running back.
But Alex, the easy solution is to trade for Roquan Smith. Oh, that's right. He opted in.
I never even got. He's not even that good. He's not even that good. But
I mean, this is the second time now that the Giants have cut off their nose and spiked their face. Like, for instance, they did it to Logan Ryan. There wasn't really a reason why they cut Logan Ryan because it didn't have any benefit to them in this year's cap.
So they did that to him, and then now done it to Blake Martinez, where it's not really done any benefit to us because they already renegotiated his salary, so it was kind of negligible. So I and then of course the James Bradbury thing, I can't believe that they waited so long to cut him, to leave them zero opportunity to replace him. I mean, it is glaring. And listen, I think it's quite clear that Shane is only looking at next year, because a lot of these moves are not helping us right this minute at all. So I think it's all about next year. So, going in prior to some, I would say after the draft, I was thinking this team could win maybe 8 games. I'm going to lessen that now with the injuries that we've had and some of the bizarre moves that we've made. I think we need to temper expectations again. I'll say that word again, but 6 wins maybe.
5, 6, 7. That's mine.
Yeah.
Like the Logan Ryan thing, I could kind of get now, and I agreed a little bit more with it at the time.
So did I.
Because, okay, he's a veteran, and he even got cut by the fucking Bucks.
Yeah.
He didn't even make the final 53. I mean, he made it to practice squad, at least to my knowledge, but, it just shows, like, would a team cut Blake Martinez right now? No, they wouldn't, because how many capable linebackers are walking across the earth? Walking across the NFL. There's not many at all. So that's honestly, and yeah, we got more relief in terms of cap for Martinez, but it's once again cutting the nose off to spite our face. Jets mess says they could have gotten something for him. Jets were desperate for a linebacker.
So we got Quan Alexander. You guys should have signed him. We got him for like $1.2 million.
Exactly. I like him.
And I think he'd probably fit Wink's scheme a little bit better.
He can blitz.
But once again,
and he can cover.
It's just bad timing with these things because we talked about it on Monday. And this is stuff we're not going to sit here and say, well, Joe Shane, we'll trust the process, but we'll be critical. Because we did the same thing the last regime, we'll do it the same thing now. They didn't get Andrew Booth. They instead got another wide receiver by the name of Wan'Dale Robinson, who may have some issues this year because,
his
size, right? Speedy, fast. Okay, that's great and all, but he, small and speedy. We'll see how far that goes with big hitting Micah Parsons in the division. So you got that. You didn't draft Andrew Booth, and I know he's injured right now, but still could be a different story.
What about Tariq Woolen and Kyler Gordon and all those different guys? There was a somewhat deep kind of corner class.
And selected Flott, who many guys didn't even have.
Flop.
Yeah, many people had them viewed as a 5th round pick.
He could be an outside corner, just to what extent? So, in my opinion, the way we're going forward with this situation is you're going to have to either, unless you get an extra first, you're going to have to either decide, am I drafting a QB or am I drafting a corner? Corners do come in the second round, or you could sign a corner in free agency, but they're going to have to balance that because even though you could say, well, James Bradbury in his situation, he wanted an extension from the teams he was going to get traded to. That's on Bradbury and that's on that situation, but you had to have a deadline for that. And how many capable corners were out after the draft? Not many at all.
Exactly. It was a huge mistake.
I know Donald wanted Roger McCreary badly. I think it was either you or Donald that wanted him badly. Kyler Gordon, Andrew Booth.
That big of a McCreary fan. Booth was one of the guys.
I wanted Booth. I know I wanted Booth.
Tariq Woolen.
Tariq Woolen wasn't necessarily on the list, but
he went in the 5th round.
Trent McDuffie. There's a couple of guys you could throw.
I like McDuffie.
McDuffie, yes. So there's a couple of guys you could literally throw around. And they ended up, the worst part of it is they ended up, okay, they traded back, okay, whatever. But like some of those picks were used to what? Select DJ Davidson and Wan'Dale Robinson. And an extra defensive lineman.
DJ Davidson?
Huh?
Did you really need DJ Davidson though?
I wanted them to draft like a high priority or at least third, fourth round defensive lineman, but he went in the sixth? So Jacob says, Donald, only thing about James is that I think we wanted Sauce at 5, which means he was going to be the replacement. We did not wait long.
No, he says we
did
did wait.
long
We
to
waited
release
too
him,
long.
but we tried to get a replacement. Jets just took him before us. But
You're
also,
welcome.
to be fair, you have to have a contingency plan. That's where they were talking about all these scenarios that they were doing.
Cordell Flott could not have been their contingency plan.
What if Sauce went 1 overall? What the fuck were you gonna do? Donald, only thing. Okay, so I don't know why that's listed twice on here, but yeah. So and then this one is just you're really gonna start the season with Mr. Irrelevant and a 6th round rookie.
I think the Wan'Dale Robinson thing is that I think they were just trying to find another Isaiah McKenzie.
That's a lot of people were saying that.
Yeah,
He was on the Bills' watch list for a while.
Right.
So I mean,
one of those kind of gadget kind of guys. But again, how that fits with Tony.
Here's another problem I have. How many of these guys besides Kenny Galladay and Darius Slane are outside receivers?
That's a big problem. That's what I'm saying. There's no outside receivers. There's none apart from Galladay, and that's it.
Yeah, Galladay, Slayton, it cuts off there.
Slayton's all right.
Yeah, Slayton's okay. Okay, so at least
McDuffie
we have
was a first-round pick by the Chiefs.
Yeah, he went with the Chiefs. The Chiefs had a hell of a draft. I mean, Karlaftis,
loved their draft.
McDuffie. How about the defense there? I think they got a couple other cats, but
I love the Giants' first round. It was one of the greatest first days the Giants
kind of a
probably
slam,
had.
but I don't want to devalue it. But wasn't it kind of a slam dunk though? Like it was right in front of you.
Yeah, but Dave Gettleman wouldn't have done the slam dunk. He'd have done something fucking crazy.
Yeah, he would.
So there's nothing wrong with a slam dunk, but we did it. And then after that, day 2, I did not like day 2.
I know.
Day 2.
I know.
Day
Donald
3
wanted. Also, you guys got to worry about the tight end position. That is a bad position for you guys. That look like last year's tight end position for us when we had Daniel Brown and Ryan Griffin and Tyler Croft.
It was nice to have, I don't like Evan Ingram, but it's nice to have at least an athlete there at the tight end position, somebody that's going to make a play if he can catch the ball. That's a good point.
Like Bellinger, and then Myrick, who's a lead blocker, and then
you got blocking tight ends. That's it. You don't have a legit receiving.
Tanner Hudson, according to Brian, Tanner Hudson's not a blocking tight end.
Yeah, but how far is he going though? He's probably gonna be he's like, what is he the best out of? Like, you guys could have went early with tight end, not too early, but you could have gotten Rucker, Charlie Kohler, Isaiah Likely, Greg Dulcich. There was a plenty.
So we didn't get a tight end, obviously, in waiver wire.
No.
Cuts. Nope. Great.
And that's the problem. Like, everybody will value that, but you need to evaluate your quarterback, whether you like him or not.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
I mean, if to be fair, and I'm not trying, because I root for Daniel Jones. I have a little bit of the reason why I sometimes take defense to Daniel Jones is because I don't want to go out and experience this quarterback shit again. Yes. That's why. Like,
hey, bud. Hey, we've been doing that for 50 fucking years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, I'm not going to complain.
We're spoiled with Eli.
Again.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain too much.
If we're always looking towards next year, then what's the point of keeping Daniel Jones? We might as well just start fucking Tyrod.
Hey!
Some
the Jets have been looking. The Jets have been looking towards the future for how many years, and they get nothing done. I got to throw in these comments every now and then.
It's true. We got spoiled with a franchise quarterback like the Steelers too. Eli, Big Ben.
Eli was fucking durable.
He was just there. He's there at all times. Nobody's like that anymore. Then to your point, there's some people saying to start Tyrod already. Just do it.
He sucked in the preseason.
No, he wasn't good. But my principle, the point is, if you're not going to give him quality targets, in terms of the tight ends, quarterback's best friend, I'm a little scared. I am. But I think we'll throw it around for final thoughts. I'll go
Jacob
to
has one last comment.
Okay, Jacob says, I don't know why his comments have been showing up twice. Yeah, but I honestly, if
Think if the Jets went different.
if the Jets went a different way, it would have been Sauce and Neal probably, or we will have double on defense. Who knows? Is Styrot still good, or he's probably good to go week 1, but he's not starting. But here's the problem with that as well that puts us in a different situation. Now the draft could go a whole different way because if we select Sauce, different story. But Aziz on the defensive line, who else is going to be there?
Jermaine Johnson. But you guys would still draft a line.
Giants would, yeah. I mean, Giants wouldn't even go back to the first round because they weren't.
Or you could be smart like Joe Douglas and trade up for Jermaine Johnson like we did.
All right. Sox, Donald, Luca, final thoughts.
All right. Well, you know what? Back after a month. That was awesome, boys. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, Donald and Luca, for the first time. That was awesome. Talking a little bit of every sport, man. Red Sox, as far as our Sox go, I threw in the towel, honestly, when the Blue Jays fucking put up 28 runs on our ass. That's when I threw in the towel. But it's been nice to see the progress of this team. It really has. It's cool to see Tommy Pham, an athletic outfielder. How many more of those do we need? That's where I was at with them. Like, it's just a carousel out there now. It's going to be different next year. Hopefully they get that back into the bullpen fixed. I need a closer, a real closer. The offense is good. It'll be nice to see Xander and JD back on the squad. Excited for Giants football. Hopefully they can turn it around, man. And the division's going to be a toss-up. I don't think there's been a repeat division winner in 16 years. Is that correct?
Some shit like that, yeah.
Come on now, let's go get that division. Who knows? Let's just go out there and win some ball games. 1-0. Start with Tennessee, baby. Let's go.
Donald?
Yeah, I mean, I am excited for Giant football. Every single year, I have renewed expectations or renewed excitement. So, I do think that Dable is going to have a really good career as a Giant coach. I'm excited about him. I think he's really good. So I think he's going to steal a couple of wins for us against some good teams. So I'm pretty sure of that. I think he's got a good scheme. I think he's a good coach. So we'll see what happens. Still, too many weaknesses on this Giant team to consider them as an above 500 or even a team, but I'm still holding out some hope. So we'll wait and see how things turn out with the Giants. It's going to be a week-by-week thing. We'll just have to see how it trends. They're obviously building for the future, though. Next, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give Leon Rose the benefit of the doubt. I think that he overplayed his hand, and I think that he got done. I really do. I think that it's beyond any comprehension that they had Mitchell Robinson and RJ Barrett involved in the talks and then re-up both for over market value. And especially the RJ Barrett one, where it was right in the middle of the negotiations. So his poison pill contract basically made it almost impossible to trade him. That made no sense if he was going to be the main package. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So the Knicks are going to be mediocre, perpetual mediocrity. And honestly, it's really hard to freaking do this, man. I've been doing this for like almost 30 years watching this Knicks team. And they lose basically every year. And it'd be nice to have someone to look forward to. The Melo era I loved. I was like every single game I was excited to watch what Melo was going to do. That's what an all-star does. That's what having an all-star on your team does. Every single night you're like excited. What's he going to do tonight? But I've got no excitement. There's nothing to be excited about. The Yankees, I am excited about my man Peraza. I think he's going to be the future short, and the future starts now. So that's good. But still, the Yankees, I do agree with that point that you made earlier. I think that there's been a change in the way this team's been managed post All-Star break. Aaron Boone was involved in every single game, and they managed like every game mattered pre All-Star break. And then almost like they put the brakes on the whole freaking thing once they got a big commanding lead. And then they just started to do all the shit they did last year. All these random rests, all these random lineups that made no fucking sense. And Aaron Boone, have you noticed? He's no longer fucking scrapping the umpires anymore. That was this big thing that he was doing pre All-Star break. Every single game he was in the umpire's face. Now he's just like... So honestly, I have a feeling that Brian Cashman has been in his ear, and it's changed everything. I really do, because Aaron Boone is a completely different guy than he was just a couple of months ago, and so it sounds like I'm giving Aaron Boone the benefit of the doubt. I'm not, because what he said about IKF was unacceptable, and he probably should be fired for it.
Luca?
Yeah, football season's around the corner. Can't wait for Jets season. We'll see what they do. Knicks, they're just going to stick in mediocrity. Another team with more questions than answers. Excited for Peraza to come up, but we'll see what this Yankee team does. I don't have a lot of hope for the team overall. I think they're going to keep whirling in their own stupidity. But it should be interesting, man. It should be interesting. At least college football, Fighting Irish Saturday against the Ohio State. We'll probably get our asses blown up, but I think it'll still be a good game.
I'm a Gators fan. What kind of hope should I have as a Gators fan this year?
I don't know.
Are you a Gators fan because of the quarterback?
No.
What?
I've always been
Alex,
a Gators fan.
You missed.
No, but I'm saying. Well, I'm just asking because their quarterback is going to be a top 10 pick next year.
What's his name?
Anthony Richardson. So if you're a Gators fan, Donald, you're going to have to give us the rundown on Anthony Richardson.
I'll have to do some. I wasn't overly impressed with their quarterback situation last year.
Was it Derek King, I think?
Someone.
We'll see, but they've got a new coach now, so I want to see how that's going to play out.
Giants need to go 11.
Actually, Jordan. No, not Florida State. You fucks.
Florida State, you fox.
It was Anthony Richardson.
I want to say it was Richardson last year. Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't like him last year. I thought he was turnover prone. I didn't think he had a particularly good arm.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a particularly good arm.
Was the stat line?
Emory Jones was there too.
You're right. He wasn't good either.
Anthony Richardson, 5 touchdowns and 5 picks.
Okay, so not much of a sample size. We'll see, though. We'll see if his hype actually proves worth. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Subscribe to Sox.
Sox. Really good to be on me, man.
Chronicles.
Take care, brother.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Subscribe to Nerding Out Sports. Subscribe to all of those. And we'll be back. Boys in the Big Apple, 8:10 p.m. Monday. Also, as well, Big Blue in the Bronx podcast will premiere at 12:30 on Saturday. So be there for the premiere. Going over all the roster shit. What the fuck are you doing, Luca? You're mocking me.
You mocking me.
Okay. What a clown. Luca has something to show us in the studio. All once we're all fair. But peace out, guys. See you later. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.